Hey! Hi. All right. Very first question before we go anywhere else. Can you hear us talking? If you can hear us talking, go ahead and leave a comment. I usually check the comments after the fact, after we do a little introduction. But last time that didn't go so well. So just verifying. Drop us a comment if you can hear our audio. We are Tim and Katie.
Kim says we can hear you.
Awesome.
Yay. Good start.
Good start. Good start. All right. How y'all doing, everyone? Let's see. We've got 2 tickets, Chad and Vanessa in here. We've got Mandy from WDW Through My Eyes. Ari and Jamie from Keeping Up in Disney. We've got Kaylee in the comments. I think we have her somewhere else too, but whisper, whisper. We'll get to that. Christina. We got Mitch. And I do want to call out Carousel of Connor, who made a special pop-up appearance here tonight. He's working tonight, but he said he was going to be on break so he can join for the first couple minutes. So we got to make these first couple minutes epic. And then we got Jay and Sam. Oh, no. Sam and Frank.
Ooh,
Frank. What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in. Tonight is going to be a little bit different. The past 3 live streams, we've two. Only done 2. Man, it seems like forever. We've done 2 live streams so far. We've been largely independent and on our own, and that's how some of them were always planned to go. Some of them, however, we talked about bringing on special guests, and one such live stream is tonight's live stream, where we are bringing on a very dear friend of ours, someone who we love to travel with, love to interact with, and love to support on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Kaylee from Fantasmic Fandoms.
Yay! Hi.
Hey, Kaylee.
You're too sweet.
It's well-earned applause.
Yes.
So
a round of applause. Whoa, this is weird.
All the way around.
There we go. Oh, gosh.
We can start it on one and then do the wave and carry it over. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Oh no, Kaylee's frozen.
I know. It looks like she's. Well, I'm sure we'll get her back in a second.
We'll get her back. Everything's gonna be okay. Okay, so
there she is.
There she is. She's back.
Oh no.
Okay. Oh gosh. No, am I frozen again?
No, you're good.
Nope,
you're good.
nope, you're good.
Okay.
Sorry.
So what's
You were
happening
still
is
so still. Okay.
yeah. So what's happening is that the power is going in and out. It just started doing this, so I don't know. Hopefully it's fine. We're not having like storms right now, so I don't know what's going on.
It's just like flickering. I did like a precautionary internet reset right before because it was moving a little slow for me today. So I get it. Like stuff happens.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Well, it was y'all with the no sound last week, and now it's me apparently losing power.
We just keep
Technical
things
stuff
interesting.
happen. Yeah.
We got to keep people on
Keep
their
it
toes.
moving. So do you want to, assuming the power stays on, do you want to talk a little bit about your channel and what you're doing right now, Kaylee?
Sure. So I'm Kaylee. My channel is Fantasmic Fandoms. Fantasmic being like, the show at Hollywood Studios. So my channel, I am doing a bit of a rebrand. So I actually don't have any sit down videos right now. Hey, Connor. Hi. I'm about to be doing a readathon though, so I should have some videos up for that soon. Right now I'm doing some live shows, which Tim and Katie have been a part of. And they're called Keeping It Kind creator chats. So I bring creators on and basically talk about the impact they make in the community and also ask them some creator questions, try to share some tips for people starting out. And I also have some fun like trivia community nights that I try to plan to kind of get people in the community engaged, and just, build up a good positive community. But yeah, I hope to kind of take my channel more in the fandom direction as well in the future and have more like Harry Potter and Disney and bookish content. So yeah, if any of that sounds interesting, you can subscribe to me. I also have a vlog or two here and there. I'm supposed to have more of us, with Tim and Katie, but I'm very, very slow at editing. I'm not like Tim. Tim can edit like...
No, I'm also slow at
so
editing.
good. I cannot. Yeah, Connor, don't call it fantastic. I mean, if you call me fantastic fandoms, we're through. I don't know how Connor and I's friendship survived it, honestly.
There's Mitch. I'm a fan of Fantastic Fandoms.
Thank you, Mitch.
Mitch is a good supporter.
Mitch is great. Mitch is very great. Mitch is so supportive. I appreciate it.
So definitely, guys, go check out Kaylee's channel. She's going to be here with us for at least the majority of the night, if not all night. Fantasmic Kaylee is your Instagram. You also have Fantasmic.fandoms, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it's just Fantasmic Fandoms is my other Instagram for promotion. Yeah.
I put that one because I know you're typically a little bit more active on the Fantasmic.
That's more my that's where I post all my stuff usually. Hey, Morgan.
Hey, Morgan. Fantasmic Fandoms is her primary YouTube channel, guys. It's linked in the description. And she also does some killer Etsy stuff on KHopCo, her Etsy storefront. So if you haven't checked her out, now is the time because she is rad and everything she does is awesome. And we love having her.
Thanks.
So, what are we here to talk about, guys? It's a weird subject this week.
It's a really fun topic.
It doesn't sound fun, but I promise you it's going to be fun because this is something that impacts like
everyone.
I feel like everyone
has a motion sickness story.
Yeah, and like at the very least, like everyone knows someone who has like a motion sickness prone person in their party and makes it difficult to go to the parks. Not that, motion sickness people make it difficult to go to the parks. It's probably a bad way of phrasing things. More so that like it can make it a little bit difficult to get on certain rides, have certain experiences when you know that they make you dizzy or make you gray out. So tonight we're going to be talking about the experiences we've had with motion sickness. Kaylee, I know, has a firsthand experience with us, with her having motion sickness, which we still feel bad about to this day.
She won't let us go though. Apparently,
no,
it wasn't enough to sever this friendship. So that's good.
And also, it wasn't enough to like keep her off of like other rides.
Oh yeah, she still like went the whole weekend. So
yes, Vanessa, 100%. We are gonna get the flat rides because that gets us too.
Give 100%. Us your flat ride stories.
Morgan says can't go on a regular backyard swing.
Oh gosh, that's sad. I hope you got to enjoy that as a child, at least, Morgan.
Can you imagine what the like the carousel swings? I don't know what they're called. The wave swinger.
Oh yeah. See, I never had issues as a child, so like, and I haven't tried swinging in a long time. I wonder now if it would make me sick.
Actually, I'm thinking about it now too, and I'm a little scared to try. I feel like that would ruin something.
I know.
So I will say we usually post like a couple days early on Instagram and our socials and whatnot. Which, by the way, if you're not following us on Instagram or Facebook, you're missing out because we do fun stuff on Instagram and then it gets transferred over to Facebook where we never post anything. And everyone who's on one of those two channels gets to see stuff that's going on ahead of time. So y'all behind the curve if you're just joining on YouTube. But that aside, we post on Instagram, on the YouTube community tab, Facebook, all of that to get like questions and whatnot before we come on because we find that kind of like enhances the conversation. We didn't get any of those this time. I feel like it might be kind of like a broad strokes concept. Like, okay, yeah, we know what motion sickness is.
I think it's more about people's experiences and what they've done rather than
it really is.
What is motion sickness?
Slow boats, Mitch?
Hey, but boats? People get
y'all not feeling Small World over there?
They get like I love boat sickness is a thing. Totally.
It is, yeah.
I like Sassy Tim.
I do too, Connor.
You can have him, Connor. You can have Sassy Tim.
Okay, so what we wanted to talk about tonight were our experiences and how to kind of avoid them. And I do want to just throw this disclaimer out here before we go anywhere. Although we have at some point or another, I think all three of us have, like said, toss me an ibuprofen or something like that. We are not making any medical pronouncements here tonight. Like, everyone's body is different. There's no like one size fits all, and we're not going to make like medical recommendations to you. What we are going to do is we're going to tell you like tips and trips, what Katie calls coping mechanisms. So like the stuff you can do on your own, breathing deeply, thinking about being somewhere else, little things like that make a big difference. And also, if there are some products that we found work for us or some products that we've tried and have different experiences with, we might pitch those too. At the end of the day, it's going to be y'all's decisions, what's going to work best for you. These are just things that have done a trial run, I guess, in our circle, and things that we can recommend or not recommend based on our experiences.
Yep.
So that having been said, Kim, we are going to get to Forbidden Journey.
We are.
We are going to get to Forbidden Journey. And Mandy brings up the paratrooper at Knoebels. I 100% agree. It's a fun ride.
I haven't tried it.
Yes, you have.
I have?
You have. We have. One time.
Must have not affected you bad.
Maybe I blacked out.
We thought it was fun, but there's a difference too between like day and night. So, and I don't mean like adjectives day, it's day and night. I mean like literal day and literal night, very different ride experiences. So let's take a look at how all of this is going to come together. There's two kind of main buckets, I guess, is the way that we kind of thought of motion sickness. There's the initial kind of motion sickness that you get, which is us and Kaylee at Remy's Ratatouille Adventure in October when we had our awesome trip together, where I genuinely thought, Kaylee, no offense, I thought you were going to have a lot of trouble with this ride.
I thought she was going to be out.
They were worried.
It turned out okay. I think you said there was like one moment where like at the beginning of the ride where it seemed like a little bit weird, but then it didn't bother you the rest of the ride.
I was fine. I was really fine. I was worried. I think y'all were more worried than I was, though. Honestly, I didn't think about it.
I mean, because we had already Mako'd you. So
yeah. So,
Mako was tough.
Yeah.
So there's two, and this is good since we brought up Mako. This is kind of affects both of us. Because Katie and I are more prone to gray outs, which is what happens on a really intense roller coaster or a really intense like.
And I want to like specify that wouldn't consider graying out necessarily a motion sicknessing. It's more like just the it falls into the category of like the adverse effect that the ride has on your body more, because gray out has more to do with like the G forces and less of like losing your horizon line.
Yeah, I mean, it's not traditionally thought of as motion sickness, but I put it in here because it's like the kissing cousin of motion sickness, and it impacts. It's the thing that freaked Tim out the most the first time it happened. The first time, yes, because the first time, let me show you. I actually had the perfect picture for this. Sky Rush.
Anyone
Hershey
been
Park.
on Sky Rush?
This is like by far one of the most intense coasters that we have been on to this day. It's really, really fun. We've been on it many, many times since, but and really every time we've been on it, I'm pretty sure has been like us trying to like maintain some semblance of consciousness while going down that first sharp drop.
It depends on if I haven't been on a coaster in a long time.
Yeah. Jamie wants to go on Sky Rush so bad. Guys, if you haven't been to Hershey Park, I recommend Sky Rush if you're a big coaster enthusiast. I do not recommend starting with Sky Rush. It'll wreck your whole day.
Yeah.
And Morgan, I think, has been on Sky Rush as well. So, gray outs is one form of motion sickness that we're kind of like going to touch on a little bit. The other is just traditional motion sickness. I went a slide too far ahead. I'm sorry. The other is just kind of like traditional motion sickness, which is what like the rest of us get when we're Flight of Passage, Transformers. What's the main Forbidden Journey? That's the one we were touching on earlier. That's like the killer.
Yeah, any ride with a screen or glasses.
Mitch, Rip Ride Rocket is just truly one of the worst rides.
I just want to die on Rip Ride Rocket.
The entire ride, you're like, when is it over?
No.
Not that the concept's fun, and I wish it was better, but the ride itself is just
It needs to be retracked.
It needs to be touched. Morgan says she can do. Oh, she was talking about Ratatouille earlier when she said. So Morgan does get more prone to traditional motion sickness then, and not so much gray outs. Because I know Morgan did. What's it called? The launch at Hershey Park, Storm Runner, with us several times over during our scavenger hunt day, and she was fine. But sometimes this is honestly like where I was going to kind of go with the next slide anyway, which is you got to know your triggers. Like everyone is different. Kaylee, I think this would be an excellent time for you to talk about your specific trigger that I know is like kind of, how do I do this? I swear
You're trying to put her by herself.
I'm trying to put her by herself. Where is he? There we go.
Okay.
Just one extra click than I was expecting. So you have a very specific trigger that we have kind of learned to compensate for. What is your trigger?
Are we talking about the dips? Is that what
No,
we're talking
the
about?
opposite of dips, the banks. Where you're
Banks.
talking about
Is that
like
what you call them? Okay, I just know if it goes like this, I'm done.
Which
I don't know the proper word. So yeah, like the proper example. Well, screens also get me, but I hadn't been on a lot of like hardcore roller coasters before. And I met up with Tim and Katie. We went on Mako, which is a ride at SeaWorld. It's a hyper coaster. It's my first ever hyper coaster. I did fine. I did totally fine up until the very end of that ride. The very end of that ride, they have like the little banks, I guess, as you call them. And that just took me out. I don't know what. I don't know.
It was so sad because you were having such a good time.
It's the very end. And I literally the video of me, I just can tell I'm there like, don't throw up. Because I felt so sick. And but it was such a shame because I really enjoyed the whole ride was awesome. They were nervous. I was about to have a panic attack because I didn't know what was like it's very tall, but I enjoyed it. It was so much fun. As I said in the ride footage, it was totally wicked up until the end. And that one little thing, that looks like so harming when you look at it because it's pretty, it's just a little curve. And then I just went up and down this huge mountain thing and saw it didn't take me out, but these little tiny curves at the end for some reason just ruined my body. So I don't know.
Mako, for those of you who might not know, is a hypercoaster, a B&M hypercoaster at SeaWorld in Orlando, and it was our 100th coaster credit, and we got to experience that with Kaylee. It was literally the first thing we did. We picked up Kaylee from the airport. We went and we dropped the stuff off at the hotel. We drove to SeaWorld. We got in line to get our camera checked, which wound up being a complete waste of time because they don't care. And then we got on the roller coaster. It was after dark, and we're like, night ride on Mako, 100th coaster, all pumped up. And it was so fun. And then immediately after the ride, we looked over at you a couple times, and I swear
she was having a great time.
You were having a ton of fun. You were you were
into it,
a beast with mounting your first hypercoaster of all time, which is over 200 feet. And then you handled the drop just fine, and you're screaming and laughing. And then we get off the ride, and you're like,
I just need a minute.
Yeah.
It felt so bad.
It was really that gift shop. That gift shop was my moment of it was 1 minute I was okay, and then the next minute I was like, okay, am I gonna throw up? I might throw up. And I just was trying to breathe really hard, which I think we're talking about a little later, how you kind of deal with it. But yeah, and then I got better. But that first 5-10 minutes of me going off and on with the nausea was rough.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to reset from that too, because you were thankfully not long.
My night though.
Yeah, you walked it off pretty quickly.
No, it was less than.
But Hagrid's messed you up for a while.
That one was worse. And honestly, Mako versus Hagrid. So Mako, like I said, was fine up until the very, very end. It was that, and like I said, I can tell you exactly where it went wrong because I felt it when it went wrong. Hagrid's was different. I don't really I can't even pinpoint where it happened. I was sick for longer in that ride. I got sick sooner, and I just felt sick pretty much the whole time. I still enjoyed it, but it was like I can't really pinpoint what about
It's
that
a
ride.
I think it's
masterpiece
because
of nostalgia,
Hagrid's
but-
has overall more of those banks, and because you're on a motorcycle, right? So it's acting
You're
like
higher
you're
up, and it's literally
Yeah.
the first thing you
Well,
do,
you
right?
do this
launch, and then you do
constantly.
the
There's
not
that
around
much-
the lake or the pond, whatever it is.
Yeah.
there's not that much of this up and down motion that you were fine with in Mako, but I think it's the constant like, oh, we're this way on the motorcycle. Oh, we're this way on the
Yeah.
motorcycle. That just unfortunately murdered you. And the cool nostalgia and Hagrid animatronics could not save you.
I do want to answer Manny's question. Have we ridden Velocicoaster? Katie and I have done Velocicoaster, I think 5 or 6 times. Twice every time we visit, for the most part.
Have never grayed on
I haven't either.
Velocicoaster. I
That's-
feel like I may have starred out one time, but I honestly
Only the first time. Once you know the layout of the course, your body
Yeah.
kind of like instinctively leans into
for
it.
me it depends on like what I do first thing in the day. And I think the last time we rode Velocicoaster, we had warmed up on Hagrid, so my body was ready, so to speak. But like we just did Iron Gwazi last week, and it was the first thing we did when we walked into the park at 10 a.m. And I was like during it. So it kind of depends. But we're going to get back to tips about how possibly not to gray out on Velocicoaster, I think, because there's one of our
And
tips,
everything else.
One of our
like,
tips can't apply to it.
Skyrush, since Vanessa also dropped this comment earlier about Skyrush, and we're talking about grayouts anyway, Skyrush truly messed me up the first time. And when I did that the first time, that's the point at which I was like, I have to do some Googling because I cannot do this every time. Like, it's a fun ride, but that first drop, and this is the same problem with Hagrid's, really. Hagrid's launches you directly into like a left turn, almost U-turn. Like it banks right around and starts switching you back, which I think is what messed you up, Kaylee.
Probably.
And then
It
was
happens
like,
so
hard for you
soon.
to have a good time the rest of the ride. But Skyrush is a 200-foot hypercoaster, which takes you to the lift hill exceedingly fast and then drops you straight down without even a pause. Just momentum just continues, and it banks so sharply at the bottom that it's almost impossible not to gray. And I don't gray hard often. In fact, I think Vanessa also mentioned Intimidator 305, which Katie didn't like.
Was Gray
Where
City,
is it?
and I hated it.
Where is it?
I know
there it
she
is.
said it,
I-305. Yep. That's a giga coaster, 300 feet in the air, and it does the same thing. And to be honest with you, I didn't gray out on that one.
Which was weird.
Yeah, it was super weird. But I think it's because I did like intensive training on Skyrush and I knew what not to do. So there are ways around, like,
you can try to cheat the system on
yeah, you
grayouts.
can. And was I on the wing? This is one of the things, like your placement in the car also helps.
That's the other thing is I've kind of made a pact with Tim that I'll always take the wing seat if there's not the 2 middles available, which is never going to happen anymore because of COVID. Like you used to be able to just take the 2 middle seats because they weren't filling the rows, but now they're fill the rows every time. So.
Yeah, well, you just swap back and forth on who gets what because they're 4-person seats.
We don't swap. You always make me take the wing seat.
I do because I know my triggers. The other thing is that like certain rides themselves can be the triggers. So like Kaylee's trigger is obviously like the switchbacks, the banks, the sharp turns is what really gets you. You didn't have any problem with the dips. For us, trigger is definitely flat rides. Spinning flat. We can do spinning coasters to an extent. There are certain coasters that are built more like flat rides, and we don't care for them.
If the ride does more, has a purpose other than just to spin, then it's usually okay. And like the Tilt-A-Whirl is probably not the worst example for me. It's like teacups. Like put me on a teacup that's literally just spinning around for 3 minutes straight, which didn't used to be the case for me. But somehow I hit my 20s and my body was like, no thanks.
Age is a terrible thing.
It is.
Mitch also has this awesome tip for anyone who gets motion sickness on Hagrid's. Back row is best for backward motion sickness because you don't go as high up and you switch back faster. I don't want to ruin the ride for anyone who's not done it because it's like truly our favorite ride of all time ever. It's a masterpiece of nostalgia. It's a masterpiece of thematic coastering. But what he's talking about for the sake of just explaining this, it does go up on a spike and then come back down at some point in the ride. And at that point, you're moving backwards on a track around a tight curve, which can be a very motion sickness inducing moment of the ride. So yeah, if you're in the back row, it helps a lot because you don't feel that momentum.
Like Everest going backwards kind of sensation. It's like that.
And it's funny because usually the back row is like the more intense piece of a coaster. Like if you're on a regular coaster, the back rows, what's it called? Torque will whip you around, which is why a lot of coaster enthusiasts love doing the back row because they live for that whip. I can't stand it. I like the smooth coaster. We're not coaster enthusiasts. We're more like theme park enthusiasts with minor on coaster. My BA is in coaster. So yeah, like there's different seats you can take on the ride. There's different ways that you can approach the ride. I got one for you. Ready? Vekoma boomerangs.
Ugh.
This is Katie's favorite thing ever in the world.
I hate them.
But why? They bring you such joy.
It's because if you've never been on one, you basically that's it. That's the coaster. It's like 10 feet of track. Okay, it's more than 10 feet, but it feels
no
like
one can see what you're pointing to.
It feels like very little track, but I had never had a problem with them before. But then again, somewhere in my 20s, my body was like, no. So basically, you do this loop forward, and then you end up on the other side, and then you have to do it backwards. And apparently, going backwards in an inversion is murder on my body.
Chad and Vanessa stand with you on the decision to skip out on boomerangs.
I haven't done one since we went on. What was it? I guess it's now Jolly Rancher at Hershey Park. And
Jolly Rancher remix coming this summer.
I haven't been faced with one for a credit, but if I have to do it, I'm going to have to do it last because it will ruin me for like an hour.
So Team Hype, welcome to the channel. I don't think we've seen you around these parts before. For Hulk, if you get high motion sickness, what you can do is sit in front. Again, different coasters, different trains, different layouts, different seat. Switch things out a little bit, find your safe space. For most coasters, the front seat is a lot smoother and doesn't have as much whip. Hulk, I would imagine, is one of them. Now, having said that, I have been on the Hulk one time, and one time only. And I did gray. It was honestly like the fiercest gray I've ever had in my life. And the reason is because on the Hulk, you have something that you really don't have on a lot of other coasters. It launches you uphill into a corkscrew, which becomes a cobra roll shortly thereafter. And it's just so many G's, so fast, so early. Kaylee, I'm not going to recommend it for you.
I don't want to go on it unless you guys want me to. I mean, I'll do it. I'll do anything once. Pretty much.
No.
Kim has been on Sidewinder, which is
Sidewinder.
I couldn't remember. Yeah, that was the original name.
That was the last one that murdered me.
Yep, that's what Jolly Rancher Remix is going to be this summer. Hershey Park is doing a retheme of their Sidewinder, their Vekoma Boomerang, and it's going to be going through, looks like a tunnel with fog, and so therefore I'm calling it a new coaster experience that I have to claim for a new credit, but you don't have to go, babe.
I have Monty and you don't, so I will probably.
Oh, so you're just going to skip altogether. Be careful on the Hulk, you guys. It's super fun. It's very intense. I think it's probably the most intense coaster at Universal, to be honest. A lot of people feel like that's Velocicoaster. I don't agree. I think Hulk is more intense just because of the sheer number of G's it pulls. And I find Velocicoaster to be very fun. No gray whatsoever. But both are spaghetti bowls. So if you're not a fan of like being twisted and turned. I
just feel like the coasters I do better on personally have the longer the layout, the more spread out it is, the better. With the exception, I guess, of I-305, because that one's murder no matter what. But like.
Connor's rolling out. Thanks for joining, man.
Good luck at work.
Appreciate you tuning in. Aloha from the West Coast. Alnani vibes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Wow. It is, what time is it on the West Coast?
It's 5 hours.
Sorry,
5 hours.
I'm thinking about earlier. The UK. Yeah, you guys are fine. Okay,
it's early.
We're not keeping you up late.
Them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
It's still sunny.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Awesome. Team Hype. Sidewinder got me a blackout at night. I think they put more power onto the ride at night for some reason. That sounds awful. Just saying. I don't think, as much as I love Sidewinder during the day, I don't think I'd want to do it at night. But that is another thing that I was going to mention too. And I don't think I like embedded it as like a tip or whatever, but just throwing it out there, the ride experience is very different on any ride between day and night, except for like indoor rides. Laugh Track at Hershey Park, for example, is a spinning coaster that's indoors. Not much difference between day, night, rainy, and sunny. But for a lot of outdoor coasters, Hagrid's, Rip Ride Rocket, Incredible Hulk, sometimes a big trigger is the horizon line. Like if you can see where everything is like
Supposed
shifting
to
up and
be.
down and bouncing and going diagonal, like it gets intense. But if you are doing like a night ride, sometimes that's a little bit easier because although it's dark and it's innately scarier if you're not a big coaster person to be riding something that's whipping you around in the dark, it's a little bit easier to kind of maintain your sense of position despite how like to the contrary it sounds, because you're not constantly seeing the sun flip up and down before your very eyes. You're just seeing like a couple lights here and there that all kind of look the same. And that for a lot of people makes it a lot smoother. Don't feel like we're talking you out of the Hulk either if you guys are like not prone to motion
I mean,
sickness.
sometimes
It's
like,
really
like
fun.
this thing of like kind of knowing your triggers, like how are you, it's kind of like how do you know them unless if you have tried it. So I don't want to say you shouldn't try it and be afraid of the motion sickness, but you know, just be prepared.
Be prepared.
Be
Yeah.
prepared.
Morgan, actually, that comment there, she
I
said
was
she
gonna
finds
Yeah, I was
say
gonna
this
pull it up
is.
too.
I do too, because well, I get sick. I mean, my like if I don't eat,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, too.
Mitch, you know we can't put that comment.
Yeah,
up.
that's gonna stay in the chat, but it's sorry.
Okay.
It is super
Carrie.
I
funny
saw that
though. I'll
comment
give
too.
you
I
that.
saw Katie laugh, and I was like, "What are you laughing at?"
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Anyways, yeah, because I naturally get sick. Like I'll get sick at work sometimes because I don't eat. Like if I don't have enough, so I feel like that can definitely be a trigger if you're sensitive. If you don't eat, enough. If you're like hungry before, I think it can make it worse, in my opinion.
I think
Yeah.
it can too. After 3 rides on Iron Gwazi, I was like, I cannot do anything else until I eat. I just felt like my stomach juices rolling around in there, and it was like, we have to take a break. So
I actually see a lot of people kind of building off of this momentum, and it's actually Morgan gave us a perfect lead in here to the next tip I was going to throw out there, which is know your body. Everyone has different triggers. Everyone should know their triggers after a certain number of times in the parks. But the important thing after identifying a trigger is to listen to your body and know when you've had enough. Yep. So at this point, you've been in the theme park for half a day. You've been on a roller coaster your body really didn't care for, but it's not completely dead, Kaylee. Your body is telling you, please no more, but it's not completely dead. You cannot tell your body to keep going.
What do you mean?
To save a good time.
You can.
We dragged Kaylee all over Universal after Hagrid's, and she was like, I don't think I'm gonna go on this one, you guys. Like looking at some of them, she's like, I don't think it's for me today.
Well, I think it was Velocicoaster. Velocicoaster was one I was like, I just can't. I'm sorry. But Hagrid's really took me out. But I don't know. I feel like that one, I think that one was the only one I was like, I really don't think I can do it today. Is Velocicoaster. Well,
I think
y'all did go easy on me after, and I felt bad. I was like, I could do more than this. I just like, I think
honestly, like walking around Camp Jurassic was kind of like the break we all needed anyway. So like it was super. That's what we decided to do. When you're at Islands of Adventure and you get like, tapped out on rides, if you've been going hard all morning, like suddenly you can flip on a dime and go to Camp Jurassic. You can go to like Dr. Seuss and walk around. There's play areas all over Universal and Islands of Adventure. And that's why it's like one of our favorite parks. Like the theming is throughout and there's like nothing missing. If you want to slow it down, there's dark rides. If you want to speed it up, there's coasters. And it's just kind of like the whole package. Yeah. So honestly, we were with actually Connor as well. So the 3 of us and Connor were just like, went over to, what was it? Dino dig site, something like that.
I got it on the vlog that I have not edited yet.
Where we ate
or where we ate? In the Jurassic Park
we ate.
And
Thunder Falls Terrace is what it was, because it was right next to the Jurassic Park
We did
Water
y'all did
ride.
the water thing. That's one of my favorite
Yeah.
parts in the vlog, and I cannot wait to eventually have that vlog out. I got them water fighting with this kid
It's
in that camp.
coming.
It was so good. It was so fun. I'm so happy I got it on camera, and I will share it one day. Connor's not on
also
anymore, but Connor's also on that footage.
nearly lost my phone because apparently it fell out of
You
my
did.
pocket during the
It's
epic
like in the
water
footage. I'm
battle.
like, whose phone is this? Is this?
And I'm like, that would be mine.
Do drop towers give us motion sickness?
I've
No.
never had a drop tower do that for me. I'm also thinking like Tower of Terror, kind of like up and down motion.
Mhm.
But I can imagine it would for other
That's a
people.
good point, because not every drop tower is the same. Falcon's Fury tilts you in before it drops you face down 300 feet. Tower of Terror pushes you up and comes back down at like double speed. It's like, if you watch the Imagineering story, it's actually pulling you faster than gravity, which is a very different experience
She's
from
so
straight falling. Dr. Doom's Fearfall shoots you up.
Yeah.
There's no drop. Well, there can be, actually. I think
Yes.
it's on like a randomized.
It drops.
But it's like it shoots you up, it drops you halfway down, then shoots you back up, and yeah. So like different ride experience. There's no one size fits all. I would say I'm probably more prone to get motion sick on Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout because of the screens.
Oh yeah.
Dropping in front of a screen can be a little bit rough.
Oh no.
Oh no.
No, I'm
No,
scared.
no.
No. I don't know, but I forgot about the screens, because screens get me with motion and screens together. I tend to do okay if it's like screens without so much motion or motion without so much screen. But when there's a lot of both, I don't do well.
Oh, we gonna touch on Mission Space, Mitch.
If you
Actually, let's just touch on
Simpson
Mission
and
Space now. Mission Space at Epcot. If there's anyone out there who's still unfamiliar with Mission Space at Epcot, it is not for the weak. It is actual, literal astronaut training. They have a centrifuge inside what now is a building that houses Space 220 and the two Mission to Mars platforms. Green Mission takes you to a relatively smooth experience with still a little bit of spinning, but nowhere near as intense as Mission Orange, where they warn you seven times on a Disney ride. They're literally trying to talk you out of it before you get on the ride. They have like pre-show that's like, this is going to be really intense. If you need to leave, there's the door. And I'm like,
they don't want to
this is
clean
Disney,
up.
right?
They don't want to clean up your barf.
It's the only ride that has like barf bags installed in front of you. So like, yeah, that is a centrifuge. It will literally push you into your seat with G-force that is created by spinning you around in a circle upside down in little pods. And it creates the sensation of liftoff and weightlessness. It's really, really cool. However, speaking of triggers, if you do not follow the rules that they give you, if you look side to side at your friends in your pod, if you start looking down and twiddling with your, God forbid, if you take your phone on that thing and start fooling around, like, you're gonna get motion sick because your body is going through things that your eyes won't recognize. And really, I think that's really the key in any motion sickness, is that like your eyes see something, your body feels something different. Right. And the two have troubles like consolidating the information to your brain and your stomach. And that is, honestly, Mitch is right. If you can do Mission Space Orange and The Simpsons, which doesn't require any G-force, but the way the dome is built is really hard light on your eyes.
I mean, I will say I've done both of those rides, and I don't really want to do either one again, but I would say Simpsons made me feel more ick than Mission Space did. I was terrified of doing Mission Space because I thought it would wreck me for the whole day. But like what Tim said, all you do, if you just look at your screen and you just stay looking at the screen the whole time, and you don't let keep fooling your body into thinking, oh yeah, I'm just blasting off into space right now, it's fine, then I didn't get sick. But I don't want to tell people who are really prone to motion sickness to get on it, because you might not have that same experience. I would say it's a cool experience if you can handle it, but it's not worth the wreckage that it could do to your body. And I wouldn't feel like you're missing out on much. And if you're really, really curious, just do green and see what happens.
Coping mechanisms. It's not all bad, guys. There is some good news here. You can still do fun stuff. Christina had to roll out, and I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to like throw her comment up in real time, but She wishes us the best. I did want to pull up
here.
one of the things she said earlier. Motion sickness bands. Oh, Kaylee, you brought one.
So when y'all had a picture up, and I was like, I was not prepared. I still have them. I know exactly where they are. So these are C bands. You probably read that, but yeah, it's C bands. Are motion sickness bands. When I went to Disney in 2019, I knew I had gotten motion sick before. It was mostly on the I can't remember the name, but the castle ride at Harry Potter we talked about.
Forbidden Journey.
Forbidden Journey. I wanted to ride Forbidden Journey again. I had had a horrible experience on it before. I literally saw 2 seconds of the screen before I thought I was going to die. And then I just sat there really still with my eyes closed and prayed that I made it off that ride because I was so sick the entire time. So I started looking into different, methods and different things, and came across C bands. And I'd heard and read really good things about them. I still have people recommend them to me till this day when they find out I have motion sickness. They did nothing for me. I tried. They go on your wrist like so, and it's this little ball. See it like kind of pops up, and you're supposed to it tells you how to do it on the package. There's like a little trigger point in your palm or your wrist that it's supposed to help with nausea. And it did not for me personally. I would give them another go. Honestly, I would try again. But it didn't work for me. Unfortunately, I wish it would have. I have in all the pictures, you can see these ugly, like it looks like I'm wearing a sweat band thing on my wrist because they're in all my pictures because I kept them on like all the time. But also I will say that when I went in 2015, I only got sick on that one ride. When I went in 2019, I was sick on multiple rides, and I had worse motion sickness than in 2015. And I was kind of blaming it on this band. But I think it's just because I got older, honestly, and I don't really think it had anything to do with it, but it didn't help me. So.
Yeah, you're building up endurance. That's the name of the game. You just go like 7 times, and you're like, I will myself not to get sick.
I mean, she was saying you got more sick the second time, not less.
No, I did get more sick honestly with you guys, like I got sick, but I feel like that, okay, our experience that I had with y'all, I feel like I got the sickest, but I didn't stay sick as long as I had in the past. Which kind of, I don't know if you put this in, but I was telling Tim, like one of my coping mechanisms literally is to like, be like, you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. And like tell myself I'm fine and just like basically make myself suck it up. And I did that. I did that when we went to Orlando, and it had, there you go. Thank you for making the slide for it. I did that when we went to Orlando, and I do think it really genuinely helps. But I think also kind of with that, and kind of with what we previously talked about, listening to your body. When I was sitting there and telling myself you're okay, I was like, okay, what do I need? And I tried, like, I know when we got off Mako, I was like, I think I need to eat. If I can eat right now, I think I'll feel better. And once I got something in my system, I did feel better. So kind of like not panicking and like not throwing up. That was my main thing. But then like after that, I was like, you're okay. Like we can make it. And the nausea got a lot better. So if you're like me, I mean, that's an idea, but there's other good alternatives I think they're going to mention that kind of help prevent it more than that. That's just like your last resort. Like if you're sick, just be like, you're okay. Like suck it up.
No, cognitively, I feel like that's one of the first things you do. Like, I mean, I'm putting myself in your shoes here because I don't get motion sickness as often, but in your shoes, I would be like feeling it come on a little bit. And I would be like, this is me on Hagrid's, by the way. I just like instinctively like put myself. I was like,
I love that's the ride. You're like, oh, I'm on Hagrid's.
I will have fun. I will not get sick.
Well, it worked on that trip. But like in the car, now I get sick in the car too at home. And when I'm out of the car, I'm fine. But when I'm in that car, I think Morgan mentioned cars are a trigger for her too. I will feel like I'm dying, and there is about nothing I can do to talk myself out of feeling better until I get out of that car and walk around. Once I walk around, I'm fine, but when I'm in there, I feel like I'm dying, and there's nothing. I just have to like ride it out and hope and know it's coming to an end eventually. So, you know, it helps. I think
There
fresh
we
air
go.
is one of my
Morgan,
relievers.
Morgan did say cars when the heat is high.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I used to, when I was a kid, I had motion sickness horribly when I was a kid. And one of the things that helped me so much as a kid was we had this big like expedition that had these humongous like air conditioning vents, and I could turn it up and it was like, whoa, like getting you. It was a lot of air. And so anytime I get motion sick, I would turn those puppies all the way up as cold as I could get them, that cold air. And it just, I don't know, it helped me a lot for some reason to have all that, like just cooling me down.
I feel like maybe that's why I don't get motion sick at all on like Soarin' or
'Cause of the
Avatar,
breeze coming
because
at you.
Yeah.
because of the effects and the breeze blowing at you, it's really fooling my body into, oh, you're just flying, it's fine.
Yeah.
You're not
Fly.
in front of a screen. It's not
It tricks.
fake.
Yeah.
It tricks your
It's
triggers.
really tricking my body. So
Yeah. Well, Flight of Passage was one I was nervous to go on because I was convinced it was going to make me sick. And I was really wanting to have a good experience. So I don't know if this was mind over matter or if it was because I literally did feel like I was flying. So it might have just been my body was like, you are flying right now. Like you're fine. But I was fine on Flight of Passage. I was fine on Soarin'. I mean, different things
yep.
that, maybe the air has something to do with it.
Vanessa brought up a really good point, like way earlier on. Y'all think I'm ignoring these comments? I'm not. I see a comment that's like, "Ooh, that would be perfect for a bridge into that," and I'm building it with my editing narrative mind. Vanessa built up a great point earlier on. Keep hydrated, folks. This is like the simplest, stupidest thing that most people forget when they're especially in Florida. Because you go about your normal day and you're like, "Ooh, it's hot. Onto this coaster now," instead of being like,
Water
"Oh, it's hot. I
rides.
should go take a water break." Yeah, and water rides actually can dehydrate you too because you're not thinking about the fact that the water's not in your body. So staying hydrated is like a key thing that can really help to prevent motion sickness. I cannot tell you the number of times that I have just felt crummy, like abruptly in the middle of a theme park, whether it's on a coaster or off a coaster. I will just be like, slight headache, usually like in the back of the head, which is like, I read somewhere that was usually sinuses, and I think it was BS. I don't know what I was actually pulling this information from, but I feel like it's usually dehydration for me when that happens. Slight headache in the back of the head, feeling a little bit queasy, usually like top area of the stomach, and little overheated elsewhere in the face. And I'm just like, I can't keep going like this. I think my theme park day will be done. And then I drink 2 water bottles back to back, just pound them. And I feel like I have like new life. I actually felt that way like immediately after the half marathon that we just ran in Disney.
Well,
like,
that's a whole different.
That's a different kind of
thing.
dehydration. But if you get motion sick, no matter what the situation, drink water all day. And I mean all day. Like you should never not have some kind of water bottle or a free cup of water at Disney or something, like whatever you can get a hold of. Stay hydrated because that will prolong your ability to do fun things at the theme park. It won't prevent your triggers from occurring, but it can keep away dehydration, which can be a major trigger on its own.
Yep.
And it will allow you to kind of recover and rest a lot faster. I should have said that backwards. Rest and recover a lot faster than you would like just stepping off a Forbidden Journey and feeling like really queasy. And I think Forbidden Journey was the thing you said earlier, Kaylee, messed you up really bad. Messed me up really bad too. This was a situation where I needed to go and sit. I think I did 3 water bottles that day.
Wait, did you sit? Okay, so when I got off the ride, I've never done this before, mind you. And I did, there were several rides that I thought were going to do it to me. But I got off the ride, we start walking, and I was with Cassidy. Y'all know, they know Cassidy, but Cassidy's one of my friends that sometimes comes on my live shows. And anyways, I was with her. We were on our grad trip. And we got off and I thought I was okay. And then I was like, no, I got to sit. And so I went and sat on the floor off to the side. And this cast member came over because I guess he saw I was in peril, and he was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I was like, I'm just really nauseous." And he said, "Flying's not for everyone." And then he just walked off. And I was like, but I was like, "But I want to fly."
But it is like I mean, you can't, if you're a Potter fan, let's be realistic.
I
You
wanna
can't
fly,
skip
though.
Forbidden Journey,
You
right? Like
can't.
it
No.
is like required reading, but like required writing instead.
That
Like,
was the other one I said no to. I was saying, I don't think I said no to another one, but that was the one I wanted
Well, we
so bad to
also-
do
we had done
it,
that
and I
the
was
day
like, I
before,
don't
so
think
we
I
weren't gonna like push
could.
you on.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
done Velocicoaster and Forbidden Journey the day before when we had gotten in early. So
Yeah.
we were just like, that's okay. We did them this trip already, and we don't need to do them
I
again.
know.
Done.
I was really
One and
personally,
done.
I was more like, I didn't want to like hold you guys back, which is always like my thing. If I was like, oh no, they're never gonna invite me on anything because my darn body is just a weakling.
Wow.
But I was really disappointed in myself just because I a Forbidden Journey, like the queue leading up to it was great. Loved the queue, and I loved the like 1-2 seconds I could remember of the actual ride before I had to close my eyes. And then all I remember other than that was just like laying there and like, I'm gonna die here. I'm gonna die at the castle. And then there was this, I do remember spiders because I remember they like coughed on me.
And
That's where
they
the picture
probably
is.
took your picture and you were
Little-
like,
I looked like I was dead, like for real, because I literally was like this. they were like looking, and they're like, "We're gonna have to get this girl on the ride." 'cause
Yeah, they're
she's-
like watching on the emergency monitors. Ooh, that one's not looking good.
that would
man,
be
that
such
would be a
good
job, like to monitor that ride and be like,
That
are
would
we
be
gonna
a
have to
good
get the
job.
bucket out?
I think they're probably like backstage taking bets, like watching view. Oh, is that one gonna be our first puker of the day? $10 on that one as our first puker of the day.
Oh, that's probably where that guy that told me, flying's not for everyone. That's probably where he
Yeah,
came from.
he was probably like, just made my $10.
He saw me and he was like, "Oh, this girl, she looked like she was dead on the ride. I gotta go check her out." I
will
didn't see
tell
a
you
single thing.
guys-
I was so disappointed.
Oh, it's an intense
Like all I
ride.
did was rock the entire time. Like rock with it. That's all I got. I got couldn't tell you a single thing that happened on that ride. Could not.
Harry Potter was in there somewhere, and that's all you need to know.
I will say that if you are terribly prone to motion sickness, just ask to walk through Hogwarts.
You
get
actually can. Yeah,
the
they will let you
coolest
walk
queue
through the queue
ever,
without getting on the
and
ride.
don't like just get in the regular queue, walk through it, take your pictures, and then be like sayonara and get off.
Oh
that
no,
train.
you get to the chairs. No.
Where's the chicken exit?
That's not for me.
Not that I'm calling y'all chickens. I'm just saying that's what it's called.
No, that's
Yeah.
literally what Universal refers to it as. It's super inclusive. Okay.
I would be like, you know what? I'm gonna get on this roll. I'm not a chicken. I am.
No chicken.
Keeping up in Disney, I know Jamie has mentioned to me before on Instagram that they have not been to Universal at either of the parks yet, I don't think. So they mostly
Aw.
stick to Disney when they go. Universal's a whole different ball game when it comes to motion sickness. I would say Disney's got like a couple, but
Yeah. I mean,
Universal's
it's
work.
this whatever is screens at Disney probably is what does it for most
Kim
people.
coming in for the chicken exit.
Yep.
We chickens, we all good.
I feel
No,
like
I
I gotta
respect-
try it
respect-
at least one more time in my
Lean with
life.
it, rock
I will
with
do
it.
it
Mitch
one
and
more
I are
time.
vibing.
You guys always vibe.
Yeah. What's
Okay.
that? Was that an insult?
No,
I took it as a compliment.
I had to burp and I had to finish that sentence really quickly.
Oh,
Hopefully no one heard it.
they probably did now.
Yeah.
All right.
Moving on.
I will tell you
Next!
guys since we've been talking so much about Forbidden Journey, I will tell you guys my Forbidden Journey experience that forever wrecked me, and I will never not do this again. They tell you keep your gaze straight ahead. They do that on Mission Space. They do that on Harry Potter: The Forbidden Journey. They do it on The Simpsons. But you can't help but start to look around a little
Don't.
bit. It's very like it's human nature to want to see how the sausage is made. Like you look, and this is what happens. Like I'll show you. I put this up earlier when Kaylee was on, but let me put it up again because it's an interesting. Let me go ahead and get the live off of Mr. Potter's face. So this is how Forbidden Journey actually works. It's kind of like a marvel, honestly. You've got your actual chair floating on a huge mechanical arm. And that rolls around on a wheeled base on a very precise time points. And every so often, not terribly often, but often enough to cause major motion sickness if you're not paying attention, it'll roll you in front of a screen where you'll see things like Harry Potter playing Quidditch. So this is all well and good until someone like me gets the right idea to be like, I want to know what's happening over there, and leans forward. And guess what? If you see that screen coming at you before it actually hits your eyes, like in natural, like if you're sitting back, it's going to roll right in front of you. If you see it coming on a concave projection screen, that will mess you up, no matter who you are, no matter how tall you are, no matter what age you are, no matter how prone or not prone you are to motion sickness. That was truly the worst time I have ever had on a theme park ride. It's just, oh my God.
So do yourself a favor and watch the How It's Made video, because everyone's got them. Theme Park Expedition, whatever. They've got all these How It's Made videos on YouTube. Amusement Labs, Expedition Theme Park. Watch one of those if you really want to know, and then just follow the rules.
Sit back in your seat, keep your gaze straight ahead. The one really nice thing about Forbidden Journey as a ride over some other rides is the fact that they do have like air conditioning coming down into the seat. And I think they added that at some point because that, didn't used to be there. Sorry, I made it super big. That didn't used to be there. I think when you had originally gone on Forbidden Journey, the benches were different too. You had like a broom you could hold on to instead of the now handles.
Thought they did, but I went on it.
No, because Nate remembers that too. My brother.
Yeah,
long before I had been.
Yeah, I thought it did, but I could be wrong, or maybe it was just my imagination.
No, Morgan, parts are screens. Harry Potter on this being chased by the dragon.
No.
Screen.
That's what I love about Forbidden Journey. Is it combines screen elements with live sets. So the spiders are real. The Whomping Willow is real.
And actually, the Whomping Willow is the scariest bit of the whole ride to me personally, because that's where they literally position the crane up and you're on your back and it's like coming down on top of you and you're like, there's nowhere to get away from this thing. It's right in my face.
There was a Whomping Willow. I'm so sad. I missed that. I literally only know about the spiders.
Get you on Forbidden Journey again, Kaylee, but it's
no,
I'm
doing it. I'm keeping my eyeballs open, and I have to die on that.
We'll just pump some Dramamine through.
You got the Sea-Vans, you got the Dramamine. We'll cover everything.
I think he flew. Did he fly off in the very, very beginning?
Yeah.
Like,
so
that's the part that got like that was it. That's all I know.
The screens.
Flew,
I understand why they're there, but my favorite things about the ride are all the animatronics and the actual sets. Yeah. So those probably won't give you motion. I'm sure it's the screens that murder you, because you start out with like, "Hey guys, let's fly around Hogwarts," and murder
and that's what got me. That's what got me. Because I think what happened is like he goes and then you kind of follow, and then that's the part where we like follow.
Yep, when you dip down.
Look to the side. Yeah.
There's a very similar dip down, follow the bouncing bunny drop on Avatar, which feels just amazing. But that one drop on Harry Potter feels just absolutely dreadful.
I have no idea if the 3D glasses actually help or hurt in that situation.
I think it depends on the environment. It's not just,
because
again, it's not one size fits all.
Does not have glasses involved at all.
But I think glasses help me personally. I know that's probably unpopular. Yeah, because I didn't get sick on Ratatouille, and that had glasses, and then I didn't get sick on Avatar. And I think it's because I feel like more like I'm in it. Maybe I don't know.
Did we do Spider-Man with you, Kaylee?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. I think we were worried that one might be too triggering.
But Spider-Man's another good one that has like a lot of screens, yes, but a lot of like.
I want to hear from people who've done Spider-Man whether they think it gave them motion sickness or not, because it's a completely different.
It's bouncy and it does. I mean, it does kind of warp your perception of like gravity. But Kay Moyer says, "Are there any particular rides that we three are afraid of to do fear of?" I promise I'm reading.
Are there any particular rides you three are afraid to ride due to fear of getting motion sickness?
I would say Forbidden Journey is up there for me.
Kaylee's a bit afraid of that one. I don't. We talked earlier about the specific kind of coaster called a Vekoma boomerang, and those ones make me feel really sick because you go backwards through an inversion, just a regular loop. It's a normal loop, but you go backwards through it, and that kills me. I also hate like specific spinning coasters. I think I'm going to be okay for the Guardians coaster because it's a controlled spin. But I went on something called the Raging Cajun at Six Flags America, which is a wild mouse, but it's a wild mouse basically pictured like a teacup, and it just does this. So you're just doing this the whole time while you're on a wild mouse, and that was awful, and I really don't want to do it again ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mitch brought up Mission Space and Hulk, which we've already mentioned. I probably, just being realistic, I will never do Hulk again unless someone else in my party wants to go. Because I've got the credit and I had fun, but I grayed out so hard that I don't know if it's fun for me to do it again. I would only do it if someone else is like, I really want to do Hulk. Would you please do it with me? And I'd be like, sure. But it's probably not for me.
I wouldn't say I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm always probably going to be scared right before I go on it. I would say I would try almost any coaster once, especially when I'm with Tim and Katie, because I know that they like know a lot about coasters, and I know they wouldn't put me on one that they absolutely think would completely murder me.
Not intentionally.
Not intentionally. But I mean, like, even like, I would do Hagrid's again. I would do Forbidden Journey again. I would do Mako again. I would do all of them again. And I think there's, I've tried a lot to help my motion sickness, but I still think there's ways to try different things. I feel like if I tried them again and it was worse, I may not go on them again, but I feel like it's just kind of like up to you. And if it ruins your experience, I guess, but I would say try it. Cause you don't know, like I think Mitch had a comment saying that he never rides the Jimmy Fallon ride, which I don't care for that ride. Well, I haven't ridden Minions, but I did ride the Jimmy Fallon ride, and it didn't bother me. I just I don't care for it, so I would never ride it again in general. But you don't know what's going to mess you up until you try. It's basically what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
but you can start to build a profile for yourself of I know the banks are going to mess me
your
up,
triggers.
So
Yeah, but even screens, some screens make me sick, some don't. And I think you can learn from your experiences and kind of see, what if you do have a good experience with something that usually makes you sick, be like, what did I do different this time that maybe made the experience better?
Something that I found that really helps with you're talking about Mako, and this is actually an exact reason of why the Hulk is not, in my opinion, a great coaster for motion sickness. Something that we found works really well for roller coasters is to press your feet into the train floor. So a traditional spaghetti bowl roller coaster will send you up a lift hill of some sort. Some of them are vertical, which I hate. I hate vertical lifts. Hate them. Don't mind the vertical drops, but I hate the vertical lifts. So dropping into a spaghetti bowl from that point on can be really, really rough. And depending on how your body is wired, sometimes the spaghetti bowl is what makes you gray out or get motion sick, which a lot of people have trouble with that too. I know one of our cousins said that the Hulk, which is largely a spaghetti bowl, really messed him up. The Hulk, you can't press your feet into anything because you're dangling, which is why it's called, I don't think it's B&M, is it?
Yeah, it's B&M.
It's B&M. B&M suspended, where it dangles you.
Someone correct us if we're wrong. I thought Hulk was a B&M.
I feel like we're goofing that. 2 Tickets should know that. I feel they add the roar with audio though. It doesn't count.
No, I mean the track I feel like it has the B&M roar.
It's actually just some employee that sits down there. Roar. Anyway, recently, Friday recently, really recently, we got on Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa for the first time. We rode that sucker 6 times, night rides included, in one day. That was an incredible ride. Very smooth in the front row, very rough in the back. And I know Chad and Vanessa from 2 Tickets have also ridden recently and can kind of speak to what's going on with that particular attraction. But I would say there are a lot of people in that line, including I won't go into like the details of the incident, but I'm pretty sure that one teenager or child of some sort got a little bit more than they bargained for, perhaps bouncing their head off the front of the train because they were just being whipped around too much. So they had to like stop the train, and like we missed a loop and whatnot. It's a very safe ride. Let me be clear. This was rider error, not train error. But a lot of people can be overwhelmed by an intense coaster, and something that I found really helps me, especially on the first ride when my body doesn't know what to expect, is to just push my feet as hard as possible into the train, into like the floor of the train, which is why when Chad and Vanessa were asking earlier about Skyrush is a winged coaster. So 2 seats, the center seats of every row, are on a little, I guess, on the core of the train. Like they have a floor.
But
where you can
nothing
put your
touches
feet.
the ground.
Right. But the outside of the train is a wing. It juts out. So those people are like suspended and they're flying. And both have their merits, but I find I really like the middle seats because I can press my feet into the train itself, and that really helps to like offset any motion sickness or gray outs that I might have. The other thing, and I know Kaylee identifies with this one, take deep breaths.
Get oxygen.
Get your oxygen in. Makes a big difference.
Oh, you muted her.
Oh, you're muted, Kaylee.
You muted her.
Oh, I know. I muted myself. My
Oh,
dog
okay.
was barking. I'm sorry, and I forgot. I was like, "Oh,
No,
you
it's
gotta
fine.
remember to
Kaylee can
unmute
look.
yourself." No, yeah, my dog. Sorry. Yeah, no. I was saying. I always say that to myself. You're gonna live. Take deep breaths.
You'd be amazed how much like a little bit of extra oxygen adds to the equation.
Do not
when you're
hold
like,
your breath.
Yeah, as
Really
I tell my
bad idea.
patients all the time, in through your nose, out through your mouth, very slow.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
Good
it
breathing.
goes a long way, right? Like just getting, because your oxygen's not being regulated properly when you're like screaming or like being turned upside down or what. Like you just, how many of us remember to breathe consciously on a daily basis, much less when we're on a roller coaster. But when you're up high on a lift hill, when you're dive bombing through a bunch of G's, like it adds a lot of, I mean, it gives you sustenance to like pump oxygen back into your body, and it helps you kind of reset. And if that horizon line, as I mentioned, is like bouncing around and shifting and whatnot, it kind of grounds you a little bit to just breathe deeply, close your eyes if you have to, although I honestly wouldn't recommend it. Sometimes that can make it worse. And then just go from there. And sometimes that's all it takes is like a couple things like that. And if that doesn't work, then we're back to mind over matter, where you just tell yourself that you're okay. And then sometimes for Kaylee, I feel like it worked that one time and she recovered pretty quickly. And then another time she didn't recover pretty quickly. So
Yeah, it was worse. Hagrid's was definitely worse. I will say, to talk really quickly about like the breathing and like the mind over matter as well. When I got off of Hagrid's, especially, I remember like me and Katie went and sat by it, and I just was really telling myself the entire time to take deep breaths, and it does help. But I think just also like keep going helps. Because I know, like when I went before, poor Cassidy, me and Cassidy did Forbidden Journey. It took it out of me, and I did not want to do anything else the rest of the day. I was like, oh, I'm done. And I was like, when I went with them, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let it defeat me. So I kept going, and I really had a good day still, because we did those kind of early. We did Hagrid's, I feel like kind of early in the
first
day.
thing, we got
so
early park entry because we were staying at Hard Rock, so we were able to get on it first thing, and that may have been a mistake.
Yeah,
then it was knocking you
well,
out the beginning of the day.
I feel like if you can, I definitely would wait until the very end to do ones that are going to mess you up, because like if you're going home, then like, I mean, it's okay, but it is hard to, I think, make yourself keep going. But I mean, I look back at it and I'm like, I didn't have a bad day after that. I didn't feel like, what I will say is I didn't feel like I could go get on another intense coaster, which is why I was like, I cannot do Velocicoaster and I cannot do Forbidden Journey, because I know they both would take me out again, and I just was not in that point where I could recover.
And that's
but I was
like,
okay.
That's knowing your body. That's part of like having a good day is like knowing.
Because in the end, it's about like maximizing your fun at the park, not maximizing your pain and suffering.
Yeah.
And let me say too, if anyone watching this goes with friends that are like, oh, come on, you're not going to get on Sky Rush. Like, dude, if you suffer from motion sickness, like, know your body well enough to be like, if you put me on this ride, I'm done for the day. And just, I'll wait patiently and, you know, just own that. Go sit, wait, and let everyone else go do Sky Rush, wait in like the 3-hour line or whatever it is. And then hop off and you guys can keep going versus you getting on Sky Rush under peer pressure. And then I'm just using Sky Rush as an example. It could be anything. You go through it. It's a really intense ride, takes you out for literally the entire day. And then your friends are babysitting you with like 6 water bottles, trying to like regain your consciousness, your stability, and maybe settle your lunch a little bit before you can get back on with the day. It's just like good logical sense to like pace yourself a little bit.
Yeah. You have to listen to your body. You really do. And I feel like with me, it's like I know I can at least do one, right? I know I can handle one ride that makes me sick. But it's after that, it's like, okay, can my body handle another one? Because that's kind of pushing it. So you kind of, I think you do have to be careful and realize what your limits are. And if you're going with people and you know you're going to get motion sick on something and you don't want to try it, I think it's okay to be like, hey, like y'all go. And I don't mind waiting. And because I was like that, I was like, I don't honestly mind. Like, I love being in the parks. It's not going to bother me if you guys go ride a ride and I'm just chilling and like looking around because it's a beautiful park. So I think you just have to, you know, if you're like me and you're prone to motion sick, you got to just accept sometimes that is what your body wants. And you have to, like, instead of killing yourself, like literally like going on a ride and like making yourself so sick, just think about, do you want to be miserable the rest of the day and like be out when you already know you're like, if I'm already feeling bad, if I go on this thing, it's going to wreck me. Or do you want to just look at beautiful Wizarding World and chill? Like,
drink some butterbeer.
I mean,
there's some choices. Okay.
I've said it already and I will say it again. Like, Universal is the best park for if you have like a motion sickness attack, you can do infinite number of other things to have a fun day. And like, while like, we'll call it active recovery, right? You wander around, you have a butterbeer, you play with the wand, you can go into Jurassic Park area, you can watch the coaster go over your head, you can go and meet Blue the raptor. Like, there's tons of stuff you can do that is not even related to the intense ride. Like, this is, I guess, kind of a playbook on how to handle the more intense rides. But at the end of the day, it's your park day, you know? Like, if you want to have a slower park day, have a slower park day. You can do your one ride that you know is going to make you sick, like Kaylee said, and then you can spend like half an hour bouncing back, and it's chill, and you can still have a great day that way. It seemed like Kay Moyer has a story on from Knoebels, Don't Go on Downdraft or Power Surge, both of which are flat rides, both of which I don't think we'll be doing anyway. Just saying. I'm sure they're super fun, but not probably for us who are like a lot more prone to motion sickness from flat rides. They say take a 15-minute ride on the Scenic Skyway first. If the park has a Skyway, should always do that anyway.
The Scenic Skyway at Knoebels, it's super.
Yeah, Knoebels goes straight up a mountain and comes back down.
In the fall, it's gorgeous.
It does look like we lost Morgan and Mitch,
I think,
in
had
the
to
time.
go too.
Yep. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm sorry I didn't say adios to you in real time. And Chad and Vanessa do say that Hulk is a B&M.
Yes, I know my B&Ms.
You know your B&Ms.
I know them.
Sam says she's not prone to motion sickness, but have other medical problems and no problem sitting out and taking in the scenery.
Know your body.
And that's a perfectly acceptable way to experience a park. It's not just about like, and mind you, Katie's going to troll me on this. It's not just about go, go, go all the time. I happen to like going all the time.
I want someone to put that on a shirt with Tim's face so that I can wear it. And when he tells me we have to get in line for a third ride on Hagrid's or a third ride.
No one makes you do that. I just get on a ride and then I'm like, you're like, oh,
and when I just want to do a
and
festival day and not get in the 2-hour line for Test Track, I'm going to wear that shirt.
Well, that's why I paid for Lightning Lane, and then you were mad at me for that.
Because I could have spent it on food.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Our last bank of tips to pull from here are product solutions. And we already touched on one of them, which were the C-bands.
Which I think Morgan, before she left, had said they worked really well for her on boats, which is what they were kind of invented for in the first place, so people who get
Hence the C.
seasickness. But I mean, they're not that much. You can get them from Amazon or from like a Walgreens or whatever. And
sorry,
Kaylee,
I thought you were gonna.
I feel like there's something worth trying. If they don't work, like unfortunately, it didn't really work for Kaylee. I feel like I'm doing like the midnight like infomercial. Like, here's a C-band. This is our model wearing the C-band. For $19.99,
No,
you can
they're
get
currently
the C-band.
going for $2,039, folks. We're gonna slash that to
$30 now,
$30,
and we'll send you 2 more C-bands for free.
And they come with 3 copies of Moby Dick and
this
alternating colors.
1970s.
All right, it fell apart. You get the drift.
I was going somewhere with it. Anyway. Oh wait, give it a shot. It's probably not going to hurt you, but
it doesn't work for everyone.
But if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and now you have, I guess, a large hair tie. The
other things you can do, obviously, we've already covered like eat and drink. Those are what we what we call like coping mechanisms. This, as products go, other people have sworn by ginger chews. I love these, but I love ginger. And I think ginger is a naturally stomach settling. Yeah. What's the word? It's an anti-nausea product, it's long been used for nausea, and it's safe. It's not going to work for everyone. And honestly, I'm not a big like ginger guy myself. I like it in like the spice in like food, but I don't like drinking it. I don't like ginger tea. I don't really like ginger ale. And actually, give me all the ginger. Yep, ginger ale was our next one. So you can go the ginger route, and Katie will always drink ginger ale on planes if the turbulence is messing with her a little bit. So sometimes I just like the taste. It works for some people. It doesn't for another. Vanessa says ginger chews her life, always in her travel bag. My girl. Sam says you can always pop in the first aid parks for Tylenol. That is true too. Yeah. If you're really messed up, or even if you're just like feeling a little off your game and you want to be able to enjoy the rest of your park day, if you've forgotten to pack certain things in your travel bag, every park has first aid. Six Flags, Busch Gardens, SeaWorld, Universal, Disney. Literally throw a rock and you'll hit like a medical office, because they do not want you collapsing in the park. Not only is it bad for you, it's bad for their promotions. So if you're feeling like a little bit out of it and you don't have the tools, maybe you can't find like water, or you don't have like the Tylenol you need, as Sam said, like excellent time to stop into first aid and just be like, hey guys, sorry to bother you. I just want to like see if you guys have any Tylenol. If I don't get some Tylenol, I will die. I will literally die. They also sometimes have like air conditioned areas. Yep. And during the peak of the pandemic, which is actually when we first started going to theme parks like aggressively, we were always finding that temperature checks, which I'm glad are gone, don't get me wrong, but they would, because a lot of people would just run hot or like get a little bit dehydrated in the hot sun before they stepped up to the temperature check and would run a little hotter at the thermostat. They would always have these like cooling areas where you could go and like step back and like relax. Most theme parks have areas like that in first aid. They're not like pop-ups exclusively for pandemics. They stay there. Disney is awesome with this. I haven't seen and cannot prove that Universal has them, but I'm sure that they do. So these are all things to consider as you're moving through the parks. Just like plan the best day you can, bring what you need to. For me on roller coasters, another thing that really helps out is compression socks. I don't usually need these anymore, but especially when we first started riding intense coasters and it was just hitting me really hard, I started like kind of leaning into, and they work kind of the same way as C-bands do. They're just for your legs instead of for your wrists. Well, it's not, can I say that they're not quite the same thing? Is that okay?
Is it like to keep your pressure up or something?
They just keep they keep the blood. Yeah, I mean, Kaylee would probably know this too. Like they're keeping like the blood flow, you know, kind of forcing it out of your feet, which especially for those coasters where you might not be able to plant your feet into the ground as much for that So no, they're not really. The C-band itself is like Kaylee said, working on like a specific pressure point in your wrist that's supposed to supposedly help relieve nausea. The compression socks are more of like a blood flow thing, which I think would help more with just general discomfort on a roller coaster, and also the graying out. And
to be clear, what I meant when I said they work a similar way is that you both tighten things around your body to relieve the response.
It's true. It's true.
They tighten things.
Yes.
They are tight.
They are tight.
They are tight.
You are not wrong, Tim.
I feel like I fought too hard for that one. Moving on. The last thing you can do is over-the-counter medications, and we've already kind of touched on the big ones. Dramamine, I know Mitch brought up earlier, but it makes a lot of people sleepy. Tylenol for the headaches, and headaches are kind of a post-motion sickness thing that really impacts me. I never leave the house without some ibuprofen in my pocket because I never know when that's going to hit me.
And headaches are definitely also a warning sign of heat exhaustion and dehydration. So
water bottles are like the go-to.
Listen to your body.
Yep. That is actually literally, it all circles back to know your body. Haha. Look at that. I built my own transition in. Didn't even know you were going to say that, but there it is. So these are things that we have found work for us. I know we're getting a little bit tight on time, so I am going to wrap it up. If you guys have any more stories or tips or suggestions, please feel free to drop them in the comments as we're wrapping up here. But I do want to go ahead and call out our creator spotlight of the week. Yay. So I'm going to pull us off the screen because I feel like we're blocking it. Magical by Sarah is primarily an Instagrammer, has also recently started a YouTuber, and I only recently found her, but the reason I love what she does is because she is constantly pushing other people's content. And I mean like small creators. Like she's really, really supportive of everything that everyone does. And she will constantly do these polls like, did you post a vlog this week? If so, give me the link and I'll share it. And I just find her to be really supportive of the community. So if you're not following Magical by Sarah, you need to be. Instagram primarily, YouTube recently, but go subscribe to her as well. Our friend Zoe from Wishing Mouse is doing some incredible things. She just got back from a Disney cruise not that long ago. Went to Alani and Disneyland and Walt Disney World and Universal back to back over the winter. And so she's got a ton of vlogs like sneaking out. We're actually going to be seeing her relatively soon when we go down to Busch Gardens for Pantheon's opening. So if you guys are not following her, please do check her out. YouTube and Instagram are her primary channels. And then I had to throw this in here because we had Kaylee on the show, but I would have done it anyway. Megan Leanne Reeds is one of Kaylee's your cousin, right?
She's my cousin, yeah. She's my cousin.
I just popped this back on to verify.
Yes.
Megan has been on Kaylee's live streams a couple of times, and she is absolutely a brilliant creator. She does a lot of, I think what I found most fascinating was on Kaylee's Keeping It Kind spotlight for Megan. She talked about how she kind of like restores and customizes Funko Pops. So that's an Etsy thing that she does.
Well, it's on Instagram too.
It's on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
But she also has YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter, and she is very in on Bookish. So we have only really experienced her peripherally through stuff that Kaylee has shown, but we've gotten into following her Instagram and her Etsy's, and have actually had a couple of good conversations with her on Instagram since. So that is all credit due to Kaylee over here for introducing us. And you guys need to go check everyone out. Also check out Kaylee, by the way. We mentioned this at the beginning. We're doing it again. Go check out Kaylee's stuff. All of her stuff is linked in the description, so you cannot possibly miss it. And we love Kaylee, so you should too. End of story.
Y'all are sweet.
So that is pretty much it for what we had. Like I say, guys, hopefully this was helpful if you do suffer from motion sickness. I know this is kind of a weird topic to do like a live stream on, but I feel like we crowdsourced a lot of solutions here. So that was our end goal.
And we always like seeing everyone talk about their experiences in the comments. So even if we don't pull up your comment, we do rewatch this like with the comments. So we do like to see them. And of course, everyone in the chat can see them too. So your input is always appreciated.
Absolutely. Kaylee, I know you talked earlier when you joined about things that your channel was doing currently. Is there anything like especially exciting that's like coming up for you that people should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, I did want to say one more really quick thing, which is I'm really happy that you guys did do this live because I remember going to the parks and I had, obviously really bad motion sickness. And I always felt like such a weirdo and thought I was alone and like no one else had these experiences and everyone else was just like not having issues. So it is nice to hear that other people do have similar experiences and they have things that help them. So I think it's a good idea that you guys did this live. And I'm very happy that I got to be a part of it and got to share some of my experiences. But yeah, I'm Fantasmic Fandoms, and I'm hoping to have some more videos coming out soon, some actual sit-down videos. I took a break for a rebrand, but I hope that you guys will consider subscribing, coming over. I have some really fun creator live chats. I'm not going to have one this upcoming Sunday because I'm actually going to be out of town, but I typically have every Sunday some kind of live that's either a community activity or the Keeping It Kind live chats. So I hope you guys will come around for that. And if you subscribe, you may end up eventually seeing a Tim and Katie vlog if I can ever get it edited.
There are two already. There are
two, and then there's also one. I will just say Kermit and Miss Piggy also made an appearance. And I still got that one that has to make its appearance
That's in the can.
too.
The band live.
The band live.
Yes. Tim and Katie got me banned.
Yeah.
Sometimes
we just sang along a little bit too loudly to Muppet Treasure Island.
I will also say, guys, this is not the last time you're going to see Kaylee on our channel either. I am not going to spoil the destination. You're going to have to watch, but we will be seeing Kaylee in person in not that long to take a special little trip. So you can keep an eye out for those vlogs. On our channel, Run Disney was our most recent conquest. We were in Florida for a whole week. We stayed on Disney property for 4 days. And we pull a lot of vlogs out of those 4 days. So the Run Disney vlogs actually start this week. They're going to start creeping back into some other Disney content that we picked up while we were there as well. And then we're going to flow right into Kaylee content. So if you guys enjoyed speaking with Kaylee tonight and listening to her experiences, stay tuned. There's a lot more where that came from. And there's going to be even more than that. Our next live is going to be on the 22nd of March, and it's going to be on con, aka convention etiquette. It's a subject we haven't actually really even touched on with our channel yet, but it's something we're really going to start getting back into very, very soon.
Before Tim and I went to theme parks every weekend, we did cons
and we still would if not for COVID.
Yeah,
so
COVID.
We're starting to
it's been harder
to rebook stuff
to get back into the con circuit when they're all like inside and it involves like, shaking celebs' hands and stuff like that.
So that is coming up soon, and we will have another guest on next time, our friend Rachel from the Happily Ever After Princess Company, if you guys want to do some pre-homework on that. So we will be looking forward to chatting with you guys again 2 weeks from now. And in the meantime, you can check out all of our content on YouTube. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Feel free to share. Go subscribe to Kaylee. Am I leaving anything else out?
Every day is a new adventure.
I was gonna say every day is a new adventure.
Kaylee beat you to your own.
Okay, I thought it was true.
All right, everyone.
Sometimes we depend on our friends for that.
Ready? We'll do it on 3. Ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Every day is a new adventure.
Bye.
Take care, guys. Thanks for joining us.